Indeed, this video presents a simplified procedural view of a K-map that will make the K-map problem most easy to be solved. By the end of this video, you'll be able to solve any K-map problem involving up to 4 variables easily and quickly. This video is dedicated to Maurice Karnaugh for his contribution in developing a procedure for simplifying Boolean equations. This procedure is known as a Karnaugh map or a K-map. Let me quickly get through the contents. How to write a K-map, how to solve a K-map. Under this, we will go through grouping rules, writing terms, expression from terms, and finally, we will look into applying K-map with a couple of examples. How to write a K-map? In order to write a K-map, the first thing we must know is the number of Boolean variables defining the Boolean function. In case we have a number of Boolean variables as 3, we will draw a rectangular box. In case if we have a number of Boolean variables defining the Boolean function as 4 or n equal to 2, we will draw a square box. After drawing the box, the next step will be to divide the box into number of cells equal to 2 to the power n. Let me consider the first case with n equal to 3. That is 3 Boolean variables. Then we will draw a rectangular box. We will divide the box into 2 to the power 3. That's nothing but 8 cells. We do this by dividing the box first into 2 rows followed with the 4 columns. In case if we are having a 4 number of Boolean variables, then we will divide the box into 2 to the power 4, that is 16 cells. We do that by dividing the box first into 4 rows followed with the 4 columns. Once after dividing the box into rows and columns, the next step will be to label these rows and columns with the max or min terms. So whether to use a max term or min term, it depends on the given Boolean function. If the given Boolean function is in a sum of min term form, we will use the min terms for labeling the rows and columns. If the given Boolean function is in a product of max term form, then we will use the max terms for labeling the rows and columns. So these are the rows and columns what we are talking about. Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. Coming to the max terms and min terms, here we have a reference table of a max term and min term. So the table shows 3 columns. The first column is a gray code. The gray code is written for the 2 bits. That is followed with the second column corresponding to the min terms. We have used the variables a and b for writing the min terms. The third column corresponds to the max terms. So these are the min terms and max terms involving a 2 variables. Now let us try to label the rows and columns of these 2 maps. So let me consider the first case with the 3 variable n equal to 3 variable. Consider that there are 3 variables defining the Boolean function and the function is in a sum of min term form. So in that case, we have to use the min terms for labeling the rows and columns. Let me keep the variable a for labeling the rows. So the first row is labeled as a bar, second row a. Then the columns. Coming to the columns, we will use the variable b and c. So the first column is labeled with the min term b bar, c bar, second column b bar, c, third column bc, fourth one bc bar. Now similarly, if we have a 4 variable Boolean function in a sum of max term form with the variables a, b, c, d, then we will use the variables a, b for labeling the rows, c, d for labeling columns. So the first row min term is a bar, b bar, second row a bar, b, third a, b, fourth a, b bar. Similarly, the columns c bar, d bar, c bar, d, c, d bar. This is how we are going to label the rows and columns in case of a Boolean function is in a sum of min term form. Instead of that, if we have a max term form, then we will label the rows and columns with the max terms. Let me try to look into that also. Let me consider that we have a Boolean function with the number of variables as n equal to 4 involving the variables a, b, c, d, and the function is in a product of max term form. So then we will label the rows and columns with the max terms. Let us use a and b for labeling the rows, c, d for labeling the columns. So the first row, the max term is a or b, The second row, the maxterm is A or B bar. Third row, the maxterm is A bar or B bar. The fourth row, the maxterm is A bar or B. Similarly, to the first column, C or D. The second column, C or D bar. The third column, C bar or D bar. The fourth one, C bar or D. So this is how we are going to label the rows and columns with the max or min terms. Once we have labeled the rows and columns with the max terms and min terms, the next step will be to number the cells with the gray code. So here, for reference, we have given a list of gray codes. So we can use these gray codes for numbering the cells in the box. Okay. So let me go for numbering these maps here. Now, when it comes to numbering, there are two things that we can do. One thing is we can number the cells row wise, or the second way we can number the cells column wise. Now, which way to choose? It depends on the labeling. So if you have labeled your rows, if you have labeled your rows and columns starting with the rows, then you have to number the cells row wise. In case if you have started labeling the rows and columns, first taking the columns, then we have to number these cells column wise. So now let me go for the first map. So as we have started labeling this map with the rows, then followed with the columns. This is how we did B bar C, B, C bar. Now we will number these cells row wise. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Similarly, for a 4 variable K map, row 1, 2, 3, first row, followed with the second row, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the bottom one, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So this is how we have to label the cells. Once we have labeled the cells, the next step will be to fill the cells with the zeros, ones, or don't cares. Now, whether to fill the cell with a 0 or 1, it depends on the given Boolean function. If the given Boolean function is in a sum of mean term form, then we will fill the cells corresponding to the mean terms with the ones. Whereas, in case the given function is in a product of max term form, then we will fill the cells corresponding to the listed max terms with the 0. Right? Depending on the don't cares given or not, we will fill the corresponding cells with the don't care. Now let me consider a simple example here for filling the cells. Let me consider that we have been given with the 3 variable Boolean function in a sum of mean term form as 0, 1, 3, 5. And with don't care 7. So we now will look into the mean terms. There are 4 mean terms given. One don't care is there. So we will identify the cells corresponding to these mean terms. So those cells are 0, 1, 3, 5. So we will fill these cells with the 1 as the function is in a sum of mean term form. 1, 1. Now we have a don't care for mean term 7. Then we will fill the cell 7 with the don't care. In case if we have been given a function in a product of max term form, as shown in this example here, 0, 2, 4, with the don't care being 3. Now we see that it's a product of max term form expression or a function. So we will fill the cells corresponding to the max terms with the zeros. So the max terms are 0, 2, 4. The corresponding cells are 0, 2, 4. The cell 3 has to be filled with the don't care. This is how we will fill the cells. Now let me consider one more example with the 4 variables. F of A, B, C, D. equal to 0, 1, 3, 7, 9, 11, 13. With the don't cares, 12, 14. Now, let me identify the cells corresponding to the mean terms. So cell number 0, cell number 1, cell number 3, cell number 7, cell number 9, cell number 11, cell number 13. All these cells we have to fill with 1 as we have a sum of mean term form. 1. Now cells 12 and 14 they correspond to the don't care. So we have to fill in cell number 12 and 14 with the don't care. So the remaining cells we have to fill in with the, or else if you're comfortable you can leave it without filling zeros also, but it is better to fill because it will help in grouping. So it will simplify the grouping rather.
So this is how we write a K-map for the given Boolean function. So this completes first part of the procedure. Before we move on to the second part, let me quickly summarize the first part. To write a K-map for the given Boolean function, we must first identify the number of Boolean variables. So based on that, we are going to either draw a rectangular box or a square box as a K-map. Once we have drawn the box, the next step is to divide the box into number of cells. After dividing the box into number of cells, the next step will be to label the rows and columns with the max or min terms. This depends on the given Boolean function. If function is in sum of min term form, we will use the min terms for labeling rows and columns. Or else if the function is in a product of max term form, we are going to use the max term for labeling the rows and columns. So once the labeling is done, the next step will be to number the cells with a gray code. So after that, the final step is to fill the cells with the zeros, ones or don't cares depending on the given Boolean function. So this completes the first part. So in the second part, we will see how to solve a K-map.